Hey everyone, welcome back to Maverick Codebase. Today we are building a SwiftUI reusable text field with secure text entry, input validation, smooth focus handling. This will make your form inputs more efficient and user-friendly. Here's a quick preview of what we are building. Looks awesome, right? Let's dive into the code and build this step by step. Let's start by creating the base structure of our text field called reusable text field. Let's create a binding variable text, which allow us to pass values from the parent view and keep it dynamic. And other variables, label, placeholder. Creating a section where the header holds the label and the content contains the text field. Let's define a basic text field. Now we will modify our component to support secure input when needed. Let's create a secure field boolean variable. Instead of directly embedding, let's extract it into a separate computed property. This keeps our code clean and modular. Great. Now we can use this field for both normal inputs and passwords, but we also need an eye icon to toggle password visibility. Let's add the next. First, add a state property to track the secure text entry. Let's call it is secure text entry. This will allow us to toggle between showing and hiding the password dynamically. Next, modify the input field property to include a toggle button. But before that, let's clean up our code to improve the readability. Next, create a computed property for the eye icon. This will allow users to toggle password visibility. Next, to toggle the is secure text entry value on tab gesture to switch between our regular text field and secure text field. Next, let's add some scale animation on eye icon to make it look good. Next, let's add focus state property to track whether the text field is focused. It will help us to detect when the field is active. Now let's visually indicate focus by changing the border color. It's time to enhance our text field by introducing input validations. So let's create a new file called validator. First thing we need is an enum called validation type, which will handle different input validation cases. Let's create some. Let's take it a step further and create a validator structure. This will handle input validation logic. This function takes an input string and a validation type, then determine if the input meets the required criteria. Also, you can update the regex email and password regex according to your need. Now let's connect the validator to our text field. To keep track of whether the input is valid, we will introduce a state property called isValid. By default, it's true, and we will update it dynamically. Also create a variable validation type so that we can set our text field validation type. Next, create a function called validate. This function will check if the input is valid using our validator logic. Next, create an other computed property that will display an error message when validation fails. Finally, let's modify our main body so that the error message only appears when is valid is false. Now that we have validation logic in place, we need to make sure it runs at the right moment. First, we will trigger validation every time the user updates the text. This ensures we catch errors immediately. Also run validation when the user submits the form. This is useful scenario when users don't interact much with the field. Also provide visual feedback. We will change the border color dynamically based on validation results. Now the border is blue when focused, gray when valid, and red when invalid. Another key moment for validation is when the field loses focus. This ensures users don't leave incomplete or incorrect fields. Finally, we have built our text field component. Now let's integrate it into our content view and add multiple fields like name, email, password. Next, add the reusable text field. It's time to assign validation types. This will ensure that user enters the correct and secure information before submitting the form. Now let's refine our form by improving its layout and adding a submit button. Next, let's make our submit button smart by enabling it only when all fields are valid. And that's it. Our reusable text field component is done and dusted. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Got an idea for the next video? Drop it in the comment below. Thanks.